Welcome to Savage 2, A Tortured Soul. As a member of either the beast or human team, your ultimate objective is to destroy the enemy base. The humans must destroy the beast's lair, and the beasts must destroy the human stronghold. Your commander will construct mines to earn gold, structures to unlock new units and abilities, and defenses to protect your base and outposts from attack. Savage 2 is a unique team game, so remember to listen out for orders from your commander and officer, and try to work with others to defeat the enemy team. This is the Chaplain. Its role is to support the human combat forces by healing the wounded and resurrecting the dead. It possesses both single target and group heals, and while relatively weak in melee combat, can use the Will of God ability to hugely decrease a foe's armor. Its Holy Bolt attacks do extra damage to Hellborn units. Your team requires a monastery in order to purchase this unit. You are at the spawn screen. You may choose one of the highlighted locations on your map to spawn at. If your team has no garrison, sublair or spawn portals, you will spawn automatically at your lair or stronghold. This is the spawn portal. When placed, your squad members will be able to spawn from it. It is the most useful skill of any officer and should be used often and decisively. This is the Holy Bolt. This weapon fires slow-moving bolts which deal moderate damage. They inflict extra damage on Hellborn units. You are at the loadout screen. Here you may select your class, upgrade your attributes, and purchase items. You can also see detailed information about classes and their abilities by hovering over them with your mouse. You have spawned for the first time. Here are a few things you should know. Savage 2 is a melee-orientated game, and as such, you will kill far more players by learning how to melee. Ranged weapons have their uses, but are vastly inferior to your melee attacks. Don't be afraid to try new things, and take on better players, even if it costs you your life. You will learn a lot faster by being brave than you will by being cowardly. Remember to listen out for orders from your commander. You will be rewarded with experience for carrying them out. Most importantly, remember, this is a team game. You will accomplish far more in a group than you ever could on your own. Stick with other people, you'll live longer, and be far more useful to your team. If you still have questions, then the voice tip system and tooltips are there to help. Also, don't be afraid to ask your teammates either. Now go forth and annihilate the enemy. This is the Legionnaire. It is a heavily armoured assault unit whose primary role is to spearhead human attacks. It moves relatively slowly, but is significantly tougher than other human combat units. Its axe inflicts huge damage and swings in a wide arc, hitting multiple opponents. Its abilities are geared towards taking on several enemies at once, and the Legionnaire possesses thick armour and high hit points. Your team requires an academy in order to purchase this unit. This is the Grenade Launcher. This weapon fires grenades in an arc which bounce and inflict damage in a wide area. This is the Rocket Launcher. This weapon fires slow-moving rockets which inflict damage in a wide area. This is the Battle Axe. It swings slowly in an incredibly wide arc and inflicts heavy damage. The Legionnaire may use it to perform slow, 3-hit combinations. You have used Reconstitute for the first time. This buff significantly increases your health regeneration. You have died. A healer unit or commander may resurrect you, or if you do not wish to wait, press the E key by default to return to the loadout screen. This is the Savage. It is the mainstay of the Legion of Man's frontline combat forces. It is designed for the sole purpose of inflicting as much damage as humanly possible on the foe. All of its abilities are geared towards killing its opponents quickly and effectively. It also possesses potent ranged weaponry to fill the air with a hail of metal as it closes to sword range with its foe. You have used Rage for the first time. This buff increases your speed and attack damage, but decreases your armor for a short time. This is the Repeater. This rapid-fire rifle is accurate at medium range and inflicts reasonable damage. This is the Ravager. This weapon is inaccurate but useful for firing a great number of shots at the target in a short time. The shots become more inaccurate at range. These are the broadswords. They attack at an average speed, inflicting moderate damage in a moderately wide arc. They allow the Savage to attack with 3-hit combinations. You have used Morale Boost for the first time. This buff increases your mana and stamina regeneration, and provides a small boost to health regeneration. You have used Double Swing for the first time. This attack inflicts heavier damage on your opponent than a normal swing, and stuns your opponent for a short time. You have used Critical Strike for the first time. This precise attack inflicts a small amount of initial damage and causes your target to bleed over time. This is the Scout. Its primary functions are that of reconnaissance, covert operations, and demolitions. These units are particularly quick and agile and attack with lightning speed, but are lightly armored and lack staying power in a prolonged fight. They are best used to demolish enemy structures with their demolition packs, keep the team informed of what's happening on the battlefield by placing electric eyes, and strike from the shadows with their stealth and backstab abilities. This is the Marksman's Bow. This weapon is equipped with a zoom ability and can hit targets from a great distance for heavy damage. Its refire rate, however, is incredibly slow. This is the Crossbow. This weapon has an average refire rate and relatively high accuracy, but inflicts relatively little damage. This is the Builder. Its primary function is to assist the human commander by building and repairing structures. It has a variety of useful abilities that can be used to support allies in battle and can repair allied siege units. It has low armor and hit points and can be particularly vulnerable if not protected. It has a slow but high damage melee attack. This is the Battering Ram. This costly siege unit is designed to power its way into an enemy base and inflict as much damage as possible on buildings and defenses. It attacks slowly and must be stationary while doing so, but inflicts huge damage when it strikes. While heavily armored and resistant to attack, battering rams cannot effectively target enemy units and have only their protective flame and steam boost abilities to defend themselves. Like all siege units, battering rams are effective when supported by their allies, who can defend them against attackers. Your team requires a siege workshop in order to purchase this unit. You are currently in an ethereal state. When you use this ability, you become immune to attack, but may not move or attack yourself. While in this state, you will constantly drain your mana reserves. This is pushback. It does not inflict damage on the target, but causes enemies directly in front of you to fly backwards a great distance. This is the spawn portal. When placed, your squad members will be able to spawn from it. It is the most useful skill of any officer and should be used often and decisively. This is the Meteor Strike. This attack fires a meteor which causes heavy damage to enemy structures. It moves and fires slowly and is inaccurate against moving targets.
Spawn portal placed.
This is the Behemoth. This huge, costly siege unit is designed to power its way into an enemy base and inflict as much damage as possible on buildings and defenses. While it can easily crush enemy infantry in one swing of its huge tree trunk, its attacks are slow, ponderous, and difficult to aim, and are as such better used on buildings. The Behemoth has various defensive abilities and a large amount of hit points, but is also a huge target and will often be overwhelmed very quickly, if not properly supported by its allies. Your team requires a Charm Shrine in order to purchase this unit. You have used Trunk Slam for the first time. This quick attack deals a moderate amount of damage to any target you hit. You have used Stomp for the first time. This attack deals damage and stuns surrounding enemies for a short time. This is the Tree Trunk. This attack swings very slowly, but deals huge damage to enemy structures. It will also crush almost any enemy unit unfortunate enough to be under its swing. You have used Shockwave for the first time. This quick attack deals damage in a cone in front of you.
Squad, come with me. I need a shaman. Destroy the sacrificial shrine!
This is the Tempest. This costly siege unit is designed to bombard and destroy enemy buildings. It is particularly effective at overcoming defensive structures such as towers. The Tempest moves and attacks slowly and is extremely vulnerable to melee combat. It has a handful of defensive abilities which it can use to repel, though not kill, its attackers until allied help arrives. Tempests should so are not well suited to attacking moving targets. Your team requires a charm shrine in order to purchase this unit. This is the Conjurer. Its primary function is to assist the Beast Commander by building and repairing structures. It has a variety of useful abilities that can be used to support allies in battle. It has low armor and hit points and can be particularly vulnerable if not protected. It has a slow but high damage melee attack. These are the Thorned Claws. They swing slowly but inflict the heaviest damage of all the Beast's starting units. They also have a relatively wide swing arc and can hit multiple opponents with 3-hit combinations. These are venomous spores. While they have quite a long range, they are inherently inaccurate due to their spread. They inflict poisonous damage over time on the target. This is the Mana Fountain. When placed, yourself and your allies can replenish their mana reserves by pressing the E key by default next to the fountain. This is the Poisonous Venus. When placed, this dangerous plant will attack enemies in range for a short time. This is Entangle. It can root its target in place for a short time. Build can be used to construct grove mines when your team has a commander, and any building when the team does not. To construct or repair a building a commander has placed, simply walk up to it and hold the R key by default. This is the Shapeshifter. It functions as a fast-moving melee unit for the Beast Horde. Its primary roles are that of frontline combat and sabotage. Shapeshifters can sacrifice themselves to inflict heavy damage on buildings, polymorph to look like enemy units, and move rapidly from place to place with their cheetah form ability. They are particularly useful for destroying remote human outposts and defenses. While they strike rapidly in melee combat, their attacks lack strength in comparison to other, heavier units. This is the Lightning Strike. This weapon deals heavy damage and is pinpoint accurate over a long range. It has a high mana cost and a slow refire rate. This is the Hunter. Its melee-centric unit lacks ranged attacks, but makes up for it with deadly close combat abilities and unparalleled mobility. This unit serves multiple roles by providing reconnaissance with its Eyes of the Bat ability, as well as serving as a frontline combat unit. This is Eyes of the Bat. This ability summons a bat for scouting purposes. When aimed at the ground, the bat will hover, revealing stealthed units and removing the fog of war for a limited time. You have used Weakest Pin for the first time. This attack does damage if it can effect around you, but if nearby enemies back. These are the Battle Balls. They deal moderate damage in average range. They allow the hunter to perform 3-hit combinations. You have used Sleep for the first time. While asleep, the hunter is immune to range damage and regenerates health at a significantly higher rate than normal. You have used Venomous for the first time. Poison the enemy, dealing damage over time. You have used Frenzy for the first time. Active each successful melee strike, a portion of the hunter's stamina. This is the Predator. It is a heavily armoured assault unit whose primary role is to spearhead beast attacks. It moves relatively slowly, but is significantly tougher than other beast combat units. Its bone claws strike in a wide arc and can hit multiple opponents with ease. It also fulfills an important support role by reducing the armour of nearby enemies with its fear ability, making them much more vulnerable to beast attacks. The Predator possesses thick armour and high hit points. Your team requires a Predator Den in order to purchase this unit. These are the Bone Claws. They cleave through multiple targets in a very wide arc. The Predator can perform 3-hit combinations and attack slower than other melee units. This is the Fireball. This grenade-like attack bounces and deals damage in a large area. It also inflicts a burning effect, dealing damage over time to those affected. You have used Carnivorous for the first time. This buff causes you to gain health when you strike an enemy unit. You have used Enraged Frenzy for the first time. This buff increases the damage of your melee attacks, but reduces your armor for a short time. This is Blaze. It inflicts relatively high damage and a further burning effect. It has a small area of effect, and the projectile moves quite slowly. This is the Fear ability. When cast, it will reduce the armor of all enemies within its radius for a short time. This is the Shaman. Its role is to support the beast combat forces by healing the wounded, resurrecting the dead, and rapidly regenerating the mana of nearby allies. It can use its Storm Shield ability to make an ally invulnerable to ranged attacks for a short time, and can disorientate its foes with entangling roots and confusing mind warps. Its Spirit Hammer does extra damage to Hellborn units. Your team requires a Sanctuary in order to purchase this unit. This is the Spirit Hammer. It swings quite slowly and inflicts mediocre damage to its target. It receives a damage bonus when attacking Hellborn units. This is Storm Shield. When used on an ally, that unit will become immune to ranged attacks for a short period of time. This is Entangle. It can root its target in place for a short time. You have used Disembark for the first time. This ability abandons your siege unit and spawns you as a builder, with a health percentage equal to that of the siege unit you just abandoned. Build can be used to construct steam mines when your team has a commander, and any building when the team does not. To construct or repair a building a commander has placed, simply walk up to it and hold the R key by default. You can also repair allied siege units. This is the scatter gun. It fires a spread of pellets and is most effective at close range. It has a slow refire height. This is the Iron Hammer. It swings slowly but inflicts surprisingly heavy damage on its target and swings in a moderately wide arc. It allows the builder to attack with slow, 3-hit combinations. This is the Steam Boucher. This costly siege unit is designed to bombard and destroy enemy buildings. It is particularly effective at overcoming defensive structures such as spires. Steam Bouchers attack relatively slowly and take some time to reload. They are hugely inaccurate against moving targets and have a minimum range, so must be defended and remain with their allies, or they will be quickly destroyed. Your team requires a siege workshop in order to purchase this unit. This is the semi-automatic rifle. It fires slowly, but is highly accurate and inflicts reasonable damage over a moderately long range. This is a shield generator. When placed, it stops all ranged attacks from both inside and outside the shield bubble.
Spawn portal placed.
This is a steam turret. When placed, it will temporarily attack nearby enemies until destroyed. This is a supply depot. When placed, allies can refill their ammunition here by pressing the E key by default. Used Sacrifice for the first time. After 20 seconds you will explode, dealing great damage to nearby buildings. During this time you may not use other abilities, and your armor and move speed suffer a penalty. This is the Static Discharge. It fires a steady stream of energy towards the target at medium range, dealing damage depending on how long it stays aimed at the enemy.